Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where this time we're going to be doing a character review and discussion for Clone Commander Gree. This is one of the clones first seen in Revenge of the Sith alongside Yoda, although he served a majority of the Clone Wars under Luminara Unduli, another Jedi Master from the time. And the first thing that stands out about Gree is the very unique armor. But it's important to note that the camouflage armor that he dons in Revenge of the Sith was not his standard armor. His standard armor was basically the same white armor that the clones use with some green striping. They specifically, him and his company, donned the camouflage for the Battle of Kashyyyk, where it would be more applicable. And Gree was a very competent clone trooper. He received ARC Trooper training. He was kind of trained how to embrace the individuality and use that to become a better leader, which was one of the strengths of a lot of the clone troopers in the Grand Army of the Republic. Gree being kind of an early clone that was impacted by serving with Yoda. Yoda kind of saw something in him and gave him that motivation he needed to really rise through the ranks and be able to become a very, very efficient clone commander. And Gree is an interesting clone because he has a one of the facts about him is that he has an affinity for alien species and alien cultures. His name Gree is actually taken from an alien species, and he kind of enjoys learning and studying those types of things, even in the middle of being a soldier in battle. A lot of these clones still had their own hobbies and interests and things that, that they felt like they wanted to invest time into. So that's a pretty cool thing. There's not a whole lot of information about Gree. I mean, his appearances are limited. He does appear in the Clone Wars in a few arcs where we get to see him as a more individual clone. We get to see his perspective on the unique personalities of clones and how they're different. We do get a little bit of him in some comics again with Yoda. His relationship with Yoda, as well as Luminara, but Yoda especially, considering that in Revenge of the Sith, he's kind of portrayed as being Yoda's clone commander. Um, it is interesting, and it does lead to the heartbreak of Order 66, and he um, is given that command to execute Yoda, which he does without hesitation, or rather attempts to. Yoda is not like most Jedi. Yoda is a Grand Master, and he was able to sense it coming, and unfortunately, Gree met his end at that moment. But for what it's worth, though, with his limited appearances, Gree is another one of those characters that, with a cool design and the interactions he has with other characters, he does become memorable. And I think he's a very well liked clone amongst the fan base as far as the clone commanders of the Republic go. But really hope to see more of Gree and some type of future content, whether that be a comic or some type of revisit to the days of the Clone Wars. Just seeing a little bit more of him, I think, would be really cool. So we may be able to look forward to that. But as it stands at this very moment, I'm going to give Commander Gree a 7.1 out of 10. Really cool armor design. A little bit of a cool backstory with the alien species thing with him and the origin of his name, but not a whole lot else there. And that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you watching. As always, may the force be with you. Well, let's blow up that like button and go home.